Timer is going. Music is going. Timer is going. Music is going.
Ugh. All right, so I got a few minutes. Okay, I'm gonna have a smoke before I start this run. So I'm going to just do, I guess, a glitch exhibition throughout the whole thing, and then along the way, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll like go and explain it a little bit further. We won't worry about going fast. It'll be more about just teaching everybody the run and all the stuff, right? Well, that's what we'll focus on. Exactly. Warn me before you switch it over so that way I can out my smoke. All right, let's see here.
Game here. All right. Welcome everybody to the first ever Thunderthon Second Strike. We've got a awesome show planned here for you. The entire idea is to show you how this game works and how to break it. And I'm throwing the...
How's it going, everybody? I'm VideoGameRoulette, and today we're going to be doing another showcase of Axiom Verge. This time we're going to be doing a little bit of a glitch exhibition workshop for you guys. So if anyone has any questions in chat as we're going through some of the glitches and stuff like that, feel free to shoot them out in chat and we'll try to get to them.
Yes.
Before we get started, I'm just going to do one little check. VSync is off. We're good. Okay. We are ready to go. Oh, wait, tracker. This time we're gonna actually have the tracker working. Let's get that going.
Awesome.
And that is QRS tracker. Alright. We are good to go.
Awesome. Just to confirm, chat can hear both of us. We're all good on audio levels. Everything's ready to rumble. So,
Alright.
if you haven't seen this game before, shall I count you in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, run begins in 3, 2, 1, let's jam. I can't help but do that. It's just
Alright, so the first glitch I'm going to show off, you hold right on your stick and then left on the D-pad, and you're going to see Trace kind of do a moonwalk. There's no reason for it other than to just show off. It doesn't really save much time. If it does, it's fractions of frames.
not even a whole frame. It's just a fraction of a frame.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The frame it takes to turn around, essentially, if that.
Awesome. Everything's good to go. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. So, when you first saw Axiom Verge at Thunderthon, you kind of broke it over your knee.
Yeah. And that was in hard mode and a improvised route because of hard mode on 100%.
Yeah, and so I have to say, I've played this game casually because I haven't tried it out casually. It's really good. It's also very cheap. But how much of this movement, like just even basic jumping, was how long did it take you to master that movement? Even just basic.
Some of it can be like ridiculous. Like this jump right here, it's a pixel perfect jump. So when I'm not warmed up, I'll tend to miss it the first couple of times, but once you do it enough times, it gets easier and easier. You're simply just tapping the button just slightly as you're almost coyote jumping off of the, or walking off the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of looking for, you see how his foot is just barely on the edge right here?
Yeah.
That's what you're kind of looking for, so that when you take that last like step, you end up landing here. And
so
there's a few of those.
Are you technically falling during that frame? Is that how that works?
It's basically just a positioning timing rather than the fall itself.
Gotcha.
We just use the term coyote falling because that's what we feel like is happening, is we're like almost falling off the edge, but we're not. We're like floating for a second before we fall. You know what I mean? All right.
Gotcha. Just like Wile E. Coyote in the cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. So once...
go ahead.
Once you got Nova, you could just save warp back to the beginning, and this is a common trend in the run, is using save warps to save time in traveling.
Yeah, so I've noticed you do that. Like when I first played through, I actually ended up like getting the alternate weapon alt fire and then having to position it down there and kind of wiggle it in there. You can just warp back.
Yeah. Why is this button not working? I don't know why, but my right stick's not working at all.
That's a problem.
So I can't switch to that weapon, so I have to do it with the keyboard.
Well, improv.
Luckily, I only need to use it one more time.
That's good. So, Agni brought up something in the chat that I think is worth bringing up. You see, they said that Sudra's gravity is very strange. Would you elaborate? Is that something you have insight on? Is that the gravity that actually works inside the game for a speedrunning perspective?
So like the gravity in it has like a velocity system, and it increases over time up to a maximum velocity, similar to terminal velocity in real life. And depending on your frames, it could dramatically change the rate of your fall. So it's very inconsistent, unless you're playing on VSync.
Right, and when you first did this run, you did it on VSync. We unfortunately didn't have the tracker. We do have the tracker, so if you guys want to see what he's collecting up there in the top middle of our screen, you can actually see what items he's collecting and when.
Yeah.
Does it show a map completion as well?
On my end, I do see that.
Oh, awesome.
So like right now I have 3% items and 3% map, and in this specific map I have 25% items, 26% map.
That's awesome. Aggie. So, from a lore perspective, kind of like because the laws of physics are so broken. So it seems like a lot of this run is, and maybe I'm just kind of from an external perspective a little off here, but a lot of the run is just abusing every core system you guys could find, including the physics of this world.
Right. It's pretty crazy how, like, a few core runners come into the scene and they had some bright ideas about some of the physics in this game and how it was drawn upon, like, core physics from old Nintendo games. And so anything that happened back then happens in this, technically. Like the grapple stuff, that was all back in Bionic Commando, and it was very similar to how it works on this. So that same kind of glitchery would work on that game as well.
Fair enough. And so, before I bring over to our topic of what we're doing this, not just for the showcase, but also we do have a charity event going on for Wildfire Relief. The question I have for you is, what was the first glitch you ever mastered that really made you, with the one that clicked, I guess?
Oh, that's a good question. Before I answer that, again, this is another one of those pixel jumps right here where if you don't get it quite right, you're not going to make it. And it's one of the harder ones because of Elsinova's chin right here. It's kind of funny that jumping from this side, you kind of get pushed forward. You can kind of see our character kind of shoot forward, and it kind of almost guarantees the jump on this side. But this way, it's not so guaranteed, and so it becomes like you have to tap the jump so that you jump just like low enough to get past the head. Because if you do a full jump, I don't think it's actually possible even with the pixel perfect. I'm gonna try. I don't think so. By the looks of it, it doesn't look like it. I think it has to be a tap. So I'm gonna go back to tap, and yeah, first try with the tap.
Nice.
But yeah, again, it's one of those glitches that you're not gonna lose a lot of time if you don't do it, but it does save a little bit of time each time you get one of these.
It's really hard. Done it twice ever. Well, Pog for getting it.
There we go. Nice clean fall.
Nice. So is that like just you knowing the timing, or is that timing a little different every time you fall through that corridor?
That's muscle memory at this point.
Okay.
It's pretty much become muscle memory. Once you know where everything is, it becomes easier and easier. I've developed muscle memory playing games like Battletoads, which has pretty quick reflex timing. So a game like this is a lot easier to navigate through than that. I'll tell you that. especially for a fall like that. All right, so this next boss, Talal, if you take a body hit, he deals 100 damage, which is a full block of health. If you take a bullet hit, it's 50 damage, which is half a block. And so we're aiming to have at least 2 blocks, if not a little bit more than that, of health for just in case you mess up. So like right now, I have 252 health to be exact. So I have more than enough to make it through this. But just to show people, let's make it a little bit more butt clenchy, shall we? Let's take some damage. We're at 177 now. Alright, so now, if I take 2 body hits, I'm gonna die.
Okay, so that literally
1,
is a...
2, and we're good.
So you're skipping past him entirely.
Yes.
That's insane.
And Tom actually hinted out to this. Someone was complaining about how hard this boss was, and he's like, why don't you just cheese him?
So Tom's a developer, right? You guys are on good terms with him, and you just clipped past the boss as he suggested, like it was nothing.
Right, exactly.
That is awesome. So I have to ask then, how much of this run are things that Tom is aware of, but doesn't necessarily want to fix?
There's quite a lot, actually, because the way he went into developing this game is if it doesn't soft lock the player, then he didn't want to go about fixing it. He wanted speedrunners to be able to break the game. Like, he went into it with stuff like wrong warps and stuff in mind from Ocarina of Time, you know? So, yeah, and that's actually why we have a void warp. He left that code intentionally. He didn't think anyone would get a use case out of it, but just in case, right? And we ended up finding a use case for it.
So that wrong warp is like legitimately, is it the same sort of thing where
it's a piece of code that goes, is the player out of bounds? Yes. Okay. Put them in their last known valid position.
So it's the same type thing. You're writing a memory address onto the wrong map, and it's just going, yeah, that makes sense.
No, it's actually, well, it's not that it's the wrong address. It's just he didn't make it switch between levels, so it didn't have a valid address for each individual level, so it didn't know to not use it in another level, right? He left it open for interpretation.
So with that kind of being like a central theme, as I mentioned, that the glitches in the game are canon, right? Because as there's a lot of distortion in the world, like you will see like pieces that look like the code of the game itself is bugged out. Is that, do we know if that's kind of like a lore thing, or is that just kind of a happy accident, so to speak?
Some of it is actually hinting out to like secret areas and stuff like that. So like if you're playing the story mode, the glitchy areas are actually a hint that there's something there. And okay, you know what? Let me reset this room. I want to show this the proper way since I didn't get to show it off during my run.
Marathon?
Yeah. So I'm gonna just reset this room. So during my marathon run, I took the safety route in that room. This time I'm going to do what's called Anthill, which is the most dangerous climb, and you want to have about 300 health roughly to do it.
Okay.
1. Under. Oh! That was close. This could have been really, really bad, but we made it through.
Whoa. Ah!
1,
No.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6.
That is terrifying.
Oh, too much damage. And see, that's what you don't want happening in YOLO Room. That's why sometimes doing Anthill is risky, because you lose quite a lot of health doing YOLO Room.
So you have Anthill, which is that crazy climb, followed by, we mentioned this during the actual run at Thunderthon, which is the YOLO room, where you just kind of
YOLO your way through, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you have two ridiculously high damage gauntlets back to back.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
And so now that I died there, a run would be completely over at this point. We would reset because we just lost a whole bunch of time. But again, this is for workshop purposes, so we're just gonna keep going and show you like all the time loss and stuff like that, and show you every moment that, you know, could be butt clenchy in your run.
Well, so you're what, 15 minutes into the run at this point? And we're still kind of... The question is, how competitive are the top times in this category, you know?
Oh, they are down to, like, what we feel is the wire, but the task proves us otherwise. So, yeah, it's getting to the point where there's only a few more minutes possible left to save, but at the same time, we don't think a human will get all of those minutes, obviously. That's what people say, Nico.
having...
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna question. The question I have now is, at what point do we, like, so you do a lot of tricks that people thought were task only during the run. Is that becoming more and more common? Like, are you guys developing those strats more and more often?
Yeah, now that we're so optimized, it's getting to that point where we have to start looking into those. There's a few that, like, are really, really hard. Like, there's one that I've only ever gotten once in my life, and it's just, like, ridiculously hard. I'll try and explain it when we get to that room, but I won't be able to do it. Like, I could probably end up spending an hour trying to do it.
That's... So, I guess you guys have these task strats. What is the task time? Do you know off the top, like, roughly?
Last I checked, it's about, I think, 25 minutes roughly, somewhere around there. So it's about 5 minutes faster or so than a human. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Another cool thing, you see these guys? If you glitch them and kill one, it kills them all.
Huh.
So
Nico asked a question in the chat. What was your best tips for people that want to pick up the game, as far as, like, what would you recommend to get started with?
I would start with the no major glitches category, because it's, you know, the category that everyone gets into first and doesn't require a lot of glitch knowledge and stuff like that. And then from there, once you know where everything is and you're more used to, like, the movement and stuff like that, then you can start moving into, like, say the 100% items category. So this is the room I was talking about. So in this room, you have this guy shooting, right? And you have to time it so that you land and then jump off this ledge and then get hit by one of these bullets and then land on that ledge. I've only ever done it once, and that's considered task only. And I would agree.
So that kind of begs the question, because I was first talking to you and Willow when Willow was on the couch. You guys gave me the recommendation that to do 100% run
before randomizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you do 100%, you know where all the items are, and then once you do randomizer, you're not getting screwed by, you know, item knowledge, right? Because you could skip something and then it could be progressional, you know, and then you don't know what you did wrong, and then you're sitting there doing loops around the whole game. All right, back to YOLO room. Let's try this again. So,
Alright, you got this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Oh!
You got juggled there at the end.
Yep. And the health was right there behind me. I am so out of practice. All right. Serious time.
Serious time?
Serious time.
So while you're getting back there, I started playing this game casually, at the VGR's recommendation, and VGR is making an absolute mockery of this game. I have tried to beat it, and I'm making progress, but it is exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, it can be. Even for a seasoned speedrunner like myself, although I am a little bit rusty, it still can be devastating at times. There are some areas that are just way too insane.
Yeah, and I found that, like, I was able to progress through it, but, like, it still was really rough. I think I got to hey Chad, I got past the first boss and promptly ate crow in the next room.
Right. Alright. Take that.
So since you've done it in YOLO room, is there a backup strat for that room, or you just kind of have to just go as hard as you can?
There are a few ways you can do it. You could take a safety strat in the middle and kind of slow down there if you want. But if you really want to go as fast as possible, you kind of got to do it the way that I'm doing it.
Okay.
Which is just full YOLO. You want to try and not take damage from the dragons coming out of the roof. And you want to maintain damage off of the spiders bouncing around. That's the main focus of YOLO room. Because the dragons do way more damage than the spiders.
Makes sense. So the question that becomes, in that room in particular, how many attempts do you think it takes how much does it take you to get it your first clear of YOLO room?
It's a good question. It took me a while because when I was first starting, like, I was probably getting maybe an hour as my time, nowhere near the half an hour roughly that we're at now. So like I was taking my time through that room, and as I got more and more comfortable with stuff, then I would start, you know, going a little bit more riskier in certain places, right? Because like there's so many places you can save time. Why go balls to the wall right off the get-go when you know you can optimize that later when you're more comfortable with everything, right?
Yeah. So would you, like, you said you were getting hour times when you first started. Now you're probably competitive with the half-hour mark. That just goes to show, I guess, how many speed kills and fast strats there are for different rooms. This game's been out since, I believe it was
2015, I believe.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. It's been out, so the community of this game is really active, and it's been really cool getting to meet these people. So if you guys wanted to, you guys have a Discord, is that right?
Yep, we have a Discord. If Ken or any of the people from the Discord could grab a link and pop it in chat, that'd be great.
I can toss the link there, I think, actually. Can I?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you want to join the Discord and come learn this game, not just from a workshop, but also from like people that are in the community and actively teaching, the Discord's super friendly for learning this kind of stuff.
That was dangerous.
Yeah, we had looked little sketch. Looking kind of sus, didn't see event.
Just like that. That little bit of movement there where I just like move towards the enemy and just YOLO it, No one but me does that. That I noticed, because it's so like precise when it comes to the timing for that.
Yeah, it looked super tight, and
Yeah,
and I think one thing this game
you're
is really
killing
well
it just
showcase
before
that.
you touch it. Literally, it's insane. There we go. Gotta be careful there. That was close, but luckily we're at the right health threshold, so we got a pity health from that spider right at the end. So now our health is nice and filled, and we can YOLO this next part.
So that was literally just like the game said, well, you've taken enough damage. We'll go ahead and give you that little bit of a health pickup.
Yeah. Here comes a pixel
that...
jump. Got it. Ooh!
Nice.
That is so precise. It's literally jump, tap, hope for the best. Alright, now that I have this much health, I can go through and just glitch everything.
So it looks like that's like a bunch of strats that kind of cascade musically. If you get the first strat, you can attempt the second strat. And if you attempt the second strat, you can attempt the third, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And there we go. That was Mission Impossible. Getting through there without the lasers hitting you can be a pain, and it takes a lot of practice.
Gotcha.
There we go.
So, a lot of this run, this run feels kind of snowbally, from the sense that, like, once one thing goes wrong, it all kind of cascades.
Right? It's so true.
When you're learning this run, what is your recommendation to people that do have that impulse to reset?
I would just do a bunch of no reset runs, maybe even make a whole bunch of backup saves, and just practice the areas that you're not comfortable with at first. And as you get more and more comfortable, then you can save less and less. Now, with the new route, it's become a lot easier and more accessible to start running this game compared to before. So, like, right here, we're gonna take a save here. Usually, we don't save. But because this is the new route, we could technically save throughout the whole run now. Back in NMG, we weren't allowed to save until after we finished this whole section. But now with Yes Major glitches, we actually go and get the grapple early rather than late. So now we don't actually have to not save anymore. Right. So I would suggest save everywhere until you're comfortable.
Makes sense.
So here, I'd probably take the extra damage here. And then just take the health off of him. Just like that. You
get the pity health from that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get more health from this guy. Now, for this next room, if you lock and hold up left, you can shoot both of the zombies without them coming down at you. Now, here's another pixel jump. So, if you go off of this corner, you can land on that platform, but you have to just barely miss that roof right there to make it, right? And then from there, you would kind of go up the rest of the way. So it would be like, let's see if I can get this all. Yeah, I totally screwed that up. So you would jump here, and then you would jump up and just miss that steam. Sometimes you'll get hit and boosted forward, which is fine, but it's really tight timing to get all that.
Makes sense. And so, well, you're looking to take on this third boss here. the question is, do all of these bosses have some sort of cheese strat? Is that
Yes.
just the way they're designed?
They all have some sort of cheese strat. Not all of them were intentional. Like, this one was not intentional. This is your way back. And Tom didn't expect us to use it as a way to cheese underneath them. You know?
Huh. So you just use the glitch to, or the first time the gun is the square wave to cause those platforms to appear, and then you just stand behind him and shoot him.
Yeah, exactly. And it just so works out that the positioning of one of those blocks is perfect, so that you hold up left and shoot, and you can hit them.
That's awesome.
It was just a stroke of luck that it all worked out that way.
So now you have the lab coat, which is, I remember,
It allows us to glitch through walls.
yeah, and I remember the second you got this during the last one you did here at Thunderthon, you absolutely broke the game from that point forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you say this or the grappling hook is more broken? What do you think?
The grappling hook is definitely more broken. That and the drone.
Yeah. The drone, I'm excited to show chat the drone because there's a lot of tech there that we're going to be talking about. It's Freya. It's Freya hosting. Hi.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Since we have that save point, we don't have to walk. We could just...
Nice.
Yeah. I keep forgetting about this. This is a new route.
Hi, Willow. Yeah, this route looks different than what you showed us last time around.
Yeah.
At least that's cool. Oh, you don't have to show me yet, Nico. You're good.
As you can see, Mission Impossible is a little bit different there with the high jump. So that's another thing, is memorizing the 2 different Mission Impossible climbs. Here's G-Squeeze. Oh, I actually got it!
What?
So, you get past that enemy without getting touched. It's like very tight timing, but I managed to get it there.
That's awesome. So Willow is complaining that you keep doing early grapple. Was that part of that sequence there?
Huh?
Willow's complaining that you keep doing early grapple.
Oh.
So,
hey, don't blame me. Everyone else was the ones that overtook my time with those strats, so now I have to.
early grapple is a classification strat. That's awesome. So I'm watching you maneuver. Is it? I recall this is one of the areas that was really, really dense with enemies and.
Yeah, Kerr in general, yeah, it was. But there's a specific room, the grapple room, that he forgot to balance at the end. He was balancing the whole game because the whole game was as crazy as that room at one point, and that was just one of the rooms he missed.
Makes
So
sense.
normally, the game expects you to use your drone and go through this convoluted whole maze over here to hit some switch to open this laser for you, but we could just take a what's the word I'm looking for?
Take a shortcut.
Well, take a shortcut, but something that Mega Man runners do, right?
A zip?
No, well, not a zip, but like you jump around something, so you see how we have this corner here, we jump around it and then up.
Gotcha.
Like that.
That's cool. So is that a single sequence of inputs, or is that a kind of a flurry of inputs all at once?
It's like a flurry, so I'm going right, and then instantly after my jump, once I know I'm past the block, I'm holding left and maintaining the button for jump.
Alright, that's cool.
So where was I? Oh yeah, drone. So after drone, we go this way. jump here, and you get your terminal velocity, fall in the pipe. That little jump is risky. It's killed me so many times, but it lines me up for that pixel jump, which looks so cool.
Oh, nice.
Alright, coming into this pipe, I'm going to hold up left and then up right and just continuously fire. And that'll stop the claw from hitting me on the way down.
Oh.
Now we can work our way into this pipe. And also, we could have saved and quit from the drone. I completely forgot because we had to save incur.
So, Angie brought up a point where he's saying, you know, I'm glad this game has no fall damage.
Yeah, there's no fall damage.
Looks like a lot of strats would just not work if that were not the case.
Right?
This room looks insane.
Alright.
So he's gonna save warp back out. Once here.
It only brings me to the room just below it. Don't really need to save warp, but I figured I'd fill up my health.
Gotcha, because you're demonstrating. So at this point, the question then becomes: once you get your first couple tools, a lot of you start doing zips and stuff like that to kind of clear the area quickly. What was like the initial? I'm trying to think of the words. What was the initial like route as far as getting these tools, or is it wildly different, or are you kind of following the same basic theory?
We follow mostly the same basic theory. No major glitches skips grapple, but yes, major glitches grabs it. So it's basically prioritizing what tool you need next to progress forward, and what will get you there fastest, right? So it's kind of like almost like the logic that we dictated for the randomizer, and once this logic kind of gets embedded in your mind of like the progression of items, then it becomes more easier to kind of think of your route. And I just kind of went a little too far, was not thinking. I was on auto mode, autopilot.
It's all good.
I was supposed to go this way.
And I would like to point out briefly that donate. Right? Is the bot live? There it is. Oh, Nico beat me to it, that's why.
This room's a pain.
Yeah.
As you can probably imagine. Now, if you're really, really, really low on health, there is a little something you can do. So over in here, if you use the laser, you can have it break this block. So, and then you can come up here, and you can fill up your health off of this little power fragment. I have a good amount of health, and also I'm just gonna save before the boss, so just in case, because we're gonna workshop this boss for you guys, so you guys can see how intense this boss is, and he's like the run killer.
So you've got a run killer, 40 minutes in.
Well, it's technically 20 minutes in if we didn't die all those times.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, 20 minutes into the run, you just have a run killer.
Yeah. Alright.
Ooh, I thought from the way. I'd just like to, while we're here, shout out to this boss.
Oh. It was so close. Probably like 1 or 2 hits away. And that's what I was saying, is like... And I have 100 more health than usual. Usually we have 4 bars of health. So right now, as a safety precaution for this workshop, I'm showing it off with 5.
Gotcha.
But you have to be really precise on everything. So what we're doing is we're walking up towards them to manipulate them, jumping into the tail, then turning around. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's not something you want to hear.
Yeah. That's the worst.
Oof.
Yeah. As you can see. He doesn't play nice sometimes. So manipulating his RNG can be a pain.
Gotcha. Hey, this workshop percent is basically us showing you guys the tech behind the run. Not just, doing the speedrun, which is cool, but also, like, showing you guys how it's done, like this boss here, where he's gonna jump into the tail and get behind the boss, start hammering that damage down.
There we go. And see how much health I
Nice.
lived with there? So you can get into this boss with like 300 health and still survive.
Nice.
It looks like it was 240 I lost. So.
Okay. And that's because you took the body hits, not the shot hits, right?
Yeah, and I managed to manipulate the boss in such a way that he just stood there and took most of the beating, right?
Yeah. Speaking of awesome, while you're doing a little parkour, shoutouts to Willow and Sarah Avon, that managed to get it to us to $60 raise. So shoutouts to both of you. 40 from Willow and 20 from Sarah.
Cheers, everybody.
For wildfire relief. Thank you. Almost said wildlife for a second there. Wildfire.
So, this is another room where, when you first start learning it, your instinct is to go fast, but no.
So that's only something that the point to point out is it looks like this room has a lot of things that sort of seem to cascade off what you do, and so how are you trying to trigger certain things at certain times, or just kind of riding with the flow of the room?
Yeah, riding with the flow of the room while picking up certain things as health pickups, so that I can actually survive. As you can see, I just barely survived this room.
Yeah, it looks like you're constantly bringing the gun around to target different different things there as they're getting up on you.
And that room can be done faster, but again, it's one of those rooms where you have to make a call. Do I want to go through this really fast and lose another run, or do I just do it normally and, make up for the time later? So now that we have Grapple, this is where the fun begins.
This is where you get to show us exactly how badly can you break this game.
Yes.
And it looks like, you're getting to this room 3-4 times faster than... or 3 to 4 times less resources than you'd ordinarily have, right?
Yeah.
Like, your health bar is way smaller, you're not... necessarily don't have all your movement abilities.
And you can see I'm just taking a beating. Alright.
Yeah, this is crazy. So now you have Grapple, you got another movement option, and also you have access to, I believe, that wrong warp we mentioned earlier.
Not quite.
Still missing...
Almost. But now that we have Grapple, we have access to this area.
Grapple just breaks the game wide open. And the tracker's awesome. Shout out to VGR for helping make trackers.
Yeah, how's the Monster Hunter one I made for you doing?
It's treating you really well.
That's good.
Yeah,
Right.
if you guys aren't familiar with his work, he does awesome stuff with... He's programming Mad Lad over here.
Yeah.
One thing I gotta say about this game is its aesthetic is... I think I've said the same thing when I was here the first time. Its aesthetic is incredible.
Yeah, definitely is. It brings me back to the nostalgic days, you know, back in the 80s and 90s. Some of my favorite games.
Heck yeah, man.
Alright, so this was a glitch that I didn't get to show off during my marathon run. So with the grapple, if we lock our character's position, jump, and then turn upright and grapple at the right time. Oh, there we go.
Oh!
I just clipped through. So now we're also gonna... Oh, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna tap down and we're gonna push jump, then grapple back to back and hold both buttons. Oh, didn't get it. 1 second. I am not on the pixel. So we're gonna just... I think that's good enough. There we go.
So walls are a suggestion.
Yeah.
and maps are lies. All right.
Okay,
That's,
so let's see here.
So once
Come
you're
on.
done with the movement,
This is a pain.
he is doing movement right now. So
Did I fall
You're-
through?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. So your stream's not broken. He is doing movement right now.
Made it!
Nice.
No? Yes! Made it!
Awesome. Yeah, that movement is
I will quit right now and show you exactly what I did. Okay? So, this is why I made the save earlier. My timer's gonna zero out here, so... Alright?
that's fine.
So, now this is an invalid run, but that's okay. We're gonna show you some cool stuff. So, I'm gonna unlock the map. Uh-oh. There we go.
Streamer explain. Yes. This is why we wanted to do this. We wanted to show you guys not only how the game works and like it's really cool to see the strats, but now we get to demystify them and show you guys this is what we did.
So, I'm one of the developers on some of the DLC for this game. So, I have access to debug tools to kind of show you guys some of the behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. So, I can unclick the map and stuff like that at the click of a button. But to make sure that when doing this stuff, my times don't get sent to the leaderboards, I set a little piece of code that makes it so that it knows cheats have been used and puts my timer to 0. So this way, it makes it easier for me to do all this stuff. Alright, let's do this. So, as you guys saw, I just got glitched and sent all the way up into the air, not even hanging on anything, but that's where we are after that glitch. And so we let go and we land down here, right? And you see how, like, there's this pipe here? It doesn't go anywhere. It's not useful at all. And it's only here before vision. Okay? And so what we're doing is we got to position ourselves just right. Where was it? Oh, that's not what we wanted to happen. That's a soft lock, but we can get out of that. We don't even need debug tools to get out of that. But there we go. So that's what you want to happen. Alright? So that's what I was doing blind that whole time, was trying to make that happen without the soft lock happening. And if the soft lock happens, I can tell and I can get out of it, but I still need to get through here. And then once you're through, you just hold left.
Oh, this is why I wanted to show this game.
Alright, so
broken.
Let's turn off the debugging tools. So now you can see the timer is increasing. Tools are off.
Once again, resuming the run.
Yeah.
And
so now we're at vision. Which, we control vision. Come at me, bro! I'm not gonna make it easy on you. This is an invalid run.
Oh, it's so cool.
So we get to control the boss in that fight. The more power nodes you have before that boss, the faster it goes. So the new route actually makes that boss a lot faster in more ways than one, because you get to it faster, one, and you have more power nodes, so you're doing more damage.
Cool.
This health node is a good health node to grab when you're first starting to play this game, because you never know how your run's gonna go. And now
Fair.
with the new route, shoot, you know, I didn't think about something actually. I was supposed to get the trench coat that way before I save warped. But with the new route, we would be able to skip a rocket jump, which is something that I showed off during the marathon. I'm gonna show it off again here since I'm going back that way anyways, and kind of explain it, because you never know, someone playing randomizer or no major glitches may need to learn it.
Yeah, and this a lot of this tech is useful for you in your casual playthroughs, even if you don't want to break the game in as gratuitous of ways as VGR is today. You can still learn like how to do some of the advanced movement tech.
Right. So here's a really easy glitch. So again, you can see my controller right now on screen. All I'm gonna do is push left while hanging like this, and boom, we clip through the wall. So as long as your grapple is extended fully while up against any one tile wall, you can do this. Alright, let's save
Foxy,
here.
You're amazing.
Alright. Take the damage. Make
So you
that
get a body
section.
hit there, so you don't get
So
chunked out.
yeah, exactly. I take the one hit, so this way I can get through it with as minimal damage as possible. These guys, you just trap them. They're pretty useless. You just keep jumping up and you'll end up trapping them in those little sections there. You just time it so that you jump just before they get to a section, and they just go right in.
Are they trying to keep their shot on target so they move vertically?
Yep.
That's really clever.
Alright. We got the trench coat. Now, I'm going to show another glitch here while I'm here. if we would have came from the other way, we would have jumped onto here and done our little grapple glitch into here.
Yeah.
And then gotten our trench coat this way rather than the other way. But because I forgot to grab it before I save warped, we had to go back the other way. But I figured I might as well show that off. So people know about it. Alright, so now we're going to be doing the rocket jump. This section, Willow hated me for a while after I added this to the run.
It looks like you guys are constantly developing like new tech and new options. I don't know that a run from a year from now will be recognizable as even the same same game if you guys find any more tech.
Right.
Because the one we saw at Thunderthon previously, you guys were there for that event. It was very different than this run.
Yeah. Alright, so here's the rocket jump. I'm actually gonna kill this guy here so I can just kind of do this over and over again. So, as people have explained it before, we're doing a coyote jump to a dash jump. So what I'm doing is I'm holding upright, jumping and pushing up on the same frame. Because like while you're holding upright or up left, it's buffering both your right and your up input. So the next time you push up or right, it will instantly dash. So using that method, we can buffer our first input, jump and push up, and it'll give us a first frame dash jump. And then we just have to time the second jump to get up there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so once you get used to it, it becomes pretty much free. Oop. And the best place to practice it is right down here. Because it's the same height, except without the coyote jump. So you can kind of practice and get the timing for it, and then go and do it. Oops. I did not mean to do that. So here, we're going to take damage off of this green thing. And then while we're in iframes, we can dash through it. And that allows us to skip that without address bombs.
Nice.
Gonna guide that over here.
That's actually a piece of terrain that you would need.
Yeah, so that's another progressional item that we skip during no major glitches.
So no major glitches, what is really classified as not having a major glitch?
A major glitch would be like anything out of bounds or like exploitation of code and stuff like that. That's not a major glitch because like you're in bounds, you're not really like doing any kind of arbitrary code execution, you know what I mean? So anything major would, you know, use stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas anything non-major like that, that's just, you know,
using
the mechanics of the game and using the iframes to kind of get through something that you're not supposed to, right? So it's a minor thing. Now, most of you might have noticed I actually skipped Oku. So there's a boss up here that normally you have to fight. So let's actually go and fight them, because we'll show the quick kill for this boss, which is something really fun to do.
So Willow mentioned no major glitches typically requires you to fight this fight because it requires a lag clip.
Yes. Yeah. The clip that I did there can't be done in no major glitches because that is a lag. You introduce lag into the game by pushing the print screen button.
Huh.
So this boss, as you guys saw, is very simple boss. The way I kind of remember it is I stand on the third tile on the right, wait, move forward, go up against this, wait. After he moves again, go up to the third tile, wait. And then when he stops his attack pattern, I'll be holding the address and move forward to the third tile on the left until all three things are glitched. Then I'll take a step back usually because depending on my health, you don't want to take damage because you usually can only take one hit at this point, depending on your health.
Right.
And then you just time it. There's a point in the song, and it's always the same. So, like, once you kind of get used to knowing the point in the song where his mouth's going to open, you can actually shoot him, like, shoot the things that you glitched the frame before his mouth opens and still do damage.
Oh, okay.
It takes a little bit of timing, but once you know the audio cue from the music, you'll get it every time. And it's one of the easiest bosses once you figure that out. But until then, it was one of the more crazy bosses to play casually. That's for sure.
Cool. Are you in a traversal section? Like where you're moving around a little bit?
Yeah. So now, we got drone teleport. So now it comes to the point where we're doing the void warp with the drone.
Cool. So I have a couple of donor things to read real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. We have $20 from Willow saying, "Allow me to rephrase. Put VGR in a leotard." Which is a follow-up off of a previous donation Willow sent in, saying, "Is there a donation incentive to putting VGR in a leotard?" I don't believe there is, but I respect your enthusiasm. There's $20 from Sarah saying, "Thunderthon and VGR are amazing. Continue to do wonders. We will try our best."
Thanks, everybody. Alright, so as you guys saw earlier, I took my drone, put it in a specific place, and that set my X and Y coordinates for later. So at this point, we can no longer use the drone until we're ready to warp.
Right. The strat is nuts. If you guys haven't seen the strat, it's absolutely bonkers.
And just like before, I'll turn on the dev tool so you guys can see what's happening. Alright, so let's turn on the dev tools. There we go. Unlock camera. Alright, so as you can see below me is complete out of bounds. Oh.
Yeah. What? Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So
okay.
The X and Y coordinates that I saved earlier put me right here, which is the extended room. Yeah, the extended launcher room. So at this point, I just hold left. And now we're here, right? And so now we can go in here, send our drone, get the launcher, and we're good to go. Alright, let's turn off the dev tools.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you place the drone to hold a coordinates in memory, so it has the coordinates.
Yeah.
When you move to the new map, you then warp to those coordinates on that new map.
Exactly, and they end up lining up. As long as the coordinates you saved are in bounds, it will warp you. If it's another out-of-bound coordinate, then it will send you to the last place you were in bounds, like, so where we were, you know, the lava. It'll result in sending you back there if you have a bad coordinate. It'll use the secondary valid coordinate from the second character, essentially.
That's so because you're able to write that, so it's why you saw the screen move really quick, because you had it unbound, that we saw that whole movement, but then you'd have to do the rest of the movement blind.
Well, all you'd have to do is hold left at that point.
Right.
And it brings you to the pipe, and it once you get into the pipe, it moves the map for you. So that one's pretty easy.
So whenever you enter a door, as long as you don't have the drone someplace or something else saving that piece of information, it's going to reset everything to neutral?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything goes back to default after you go into a pipe. So here's the biggest major glitch ever found for Axiom Verge, and it's called Temple Skip. And it requires us to position ourselves right up against the pipe, so I shoot the drone right up against the pipe to get me right up inside of it. Then I'm going to push down, and I'm going to let go of lock. This is so weird. I'm going to jump, and then I'm going to hold upright and grapple to put me into the pipe while grappling the roof. Ah. There we go. And it's lock. I also have to hold lock for a second. Okay, so we just got an instant zip. And I'm going to use this as a teaching opportunity for everybody. I'm going to turn on the dev tools here. Because everyone wondered what the hell was going on here during my run when I was doing it all blind. So this is where we are right now. Now, if I look at the map...
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're in green hell. If I look at my map, our map shows we're over the top of the U in Ikerma, and that means I'm in this little area, the save, the passcode tool area, which is a hard lock or a soft lock. Like, you cannot get out of there if you exit the grapple state in this room. So what I do is I usually pause buffer. And that's what you guys saw me do during the marathon, is I was pause buffering. 1 second. Right? Until, there we go. Until I was over the R on the map. And once you see that, then you know you're out of the room. Now, if you do not time this properly, this is what happens. I'm just going to let it do its thing for a little bit and let everyone see what's happening.
As it attempts to wrangle with where your character actually is.
And it keeps like moving you according to time. So eventually it's gonna, oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Keeps going. One more, Trace. Oh, one more. You can do it. Come on. There we go. And that's the final move. It will not move anymore from there. But as you can see, the grapple is actually out of bounds, pulling us towards this position. And so the longer you stay in this state, the further along it pulls you. And so you want to time it so that you are where I was saying, right? Over the R at the time.
So when you're over the R, that's when whenever you do something, it'll resolve, the game will resolve it to the result you wanted.
Exactly. Alright, so, let me turn off the dev mode so I can get the camera back locked.
So while you're going back, we have $20 from Kandurkas saying, fascinating stuff, VGR. I agree.
Alright. Here we go. Now I'm going to have to do green hell forwards, which is something you guys didn't get to see during the marathon, so let's show it off.
So, we've heard it called, you know, green hack. What specifically makes this room so rough to go
You
through?
see these green guys? They stick to you like glue. And there's a lot of things to do in that room, but as you can see, I got through it. No problems.
Usually you're using that launched the drone teleport to just kind of get as much distance as possible.
Exactly. And I've studied this so much that I could do that blind now. Luckily, when we do it blind, there's no enemies, so I just have to memorize certain movement tech and not have to worry about dodging things.
Right. That's crazy.
And here's Redcoat.
That's the final trenchcoat upgrade?
Yep. At this point, we can just save and quit, and if we've done everything correctly, this should be our save point. Even if you don't save throughout the whole game, as long as you walk through this room and touch this area, it'll set a checkpoint here. So, uh-oh. Controller died. Oh boy. 1 second. Where is...
So while you're grabbing that power cable, oh, we have another donation coming in. Wow, Willow. Shoutouts to Dwango AC, keeper of VGR, for letting him unveil 1% of his true power to keep this insanely difficult run. I agree. VGR is a task bot. So while we're kind of getting a cable set up, when it comes to grapple, it seems like the grapple is the grapple affixed to a coordinate on the map, or is it affixed to a block, or because whenever you changed maps while grappled, it seemed to attach to a point that had nothing to do with anything else that you would have given it as an input. So is it attaching to a grid coordinate?
Yeah, it's using previous coordinates from the last map in the new map when we do that. Because like for this one, we're going from Indy to Ukana, right? We're going from this area, which is Indy. And so this coordinate right here is the same as the top roof that we get zipped to.
Oh.
And then with the other one, the roof that we grab before going into that pipe is the same as the one that's outside of the map that it's pulling us to.
As Willow puts it, the grapple makes the assumption that the point is attached to you on a finite grid will remain in the same finite grid, which, if you're not insane, is a fair assumption to make.
Alright, so now there's two ways to climb this. I've already shown one, so let's show the no major glitch route one. And go ahead.
I think that's kind of like that word shenanigans is the perfect word to describe this run.
Yes.
You're taking physics and going, nah, we're playing by my rules.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad to have seen this. So the infinite this seemingly infinite jump you keep doing with the launcher of the drone.
Yeah,
launcher,
so let me explain
how is that working?
Let me explain that. So if I shoot the drone and then launch it, and then if I'm pushing, so right now I'm just pushing triangle only, and you notice how like there's a cooldown between each launch. So if I shoot and then shoot my address or drill, it allows me to shoot the drone again. So it becomes like this triangle. So triangle, 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 R1, triangle, 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 R1, triangle, 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 R1. Really fast. But then on top of that, I'm doing up, up, triangle, 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 R1, triangle, triangle, triangle. Like all those inputs in a matter of a few seconds. Like. And that makes it really fast.
That was the whole when we first saw this run. You mentioned the 6 inputs. Inputs a second thing. That's that same.
Yeah, that's that.
Okay, 6 inputs in 3/4 of a second. Good.
And that might sound like crazy, and like how the hell can I do that for anybody like thinking of learning this game, but it's a lot more intuitive than you think, and the more you do it, the more your muscle memory gets used to it.
That makes sense. So while we're kind of, watching your movement.
So this room, a lot of people struggle with, but I'm going to show off the easiest way to do it. So, you see how, like, there's this roof right here? There's a whole bunch of stuff like this, where if you line yourself just right, you can take no damage going through this room. So, if you guys watch my movement here, I took 1 hit. Oh well.
So you're chaining together the drone launches to position yourself around the enemy hitboxes, right?
Yes.
That's cool. Is that a boss, or is that...
Yes, this is Sentinel, who I couldn't skip during the marathon because of all bosses, but now we can just skip past them. So as you can see, this roof tile is 3 blocks wide, and using the grapple, if we swing and dash, because Trace's sprite is sideways, it thinks that up and down is now the horizontal plane and allows us through the roof.
Wait, so your coat can dash through 3 horizontal blocks, but because you're rotating him 90 degrees, the game goes, oh, that's horizontal.
Yeah.
Oh, video games.
So here's
That's
another
amazing.
grapple spot. So whenever we do one of these grapple glitches, so I'm going to show this off. If I just push grapple, it goes upright. Whereas if I lock, push down once, so now I'm only holding lock. If I push grapple now, notice my grapple's now going straight forward. So by doing that, now we could do like a grapple and jump and hold up, and it'll make our grapple kind of do a weird little like thing like that, you know what I mean?
Huh.
And because we're doing that, when it actually makes contact, it brings us forward to wherever it contacted with the roof, fully extended. Make sense? So because we're fully extended, it glitches us through the floor. And yeah, it's pretty insane how that works. So that one has its limitations to like what it can get you through. There's a min and a max. You have to have a minimum of like 3 tiles like this to be able to jump. And then you have to have like enough room to fully extend your grapple like this. So an area like this with this kind of space would be good. But then on top of that, your floor that you want to clip through has to be no bigger than what your grapple is fully extended. Make sense?
The block count, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Alright.
At this point, we are movement kings, right? You have full vertical mobility, you've got ludicrous horizontal mobility, walls are a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
What's left to do at this point? Is it gathering power-ups? Is it...
If you're doing 100% and stuff like that, yeah, it'd be endgame cleanup. If you're doing any percent, it's just going for the final boss at this point.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Alright, so this is Laser Disco. I'm going to show it both the way that everyone does it and the way that I do it, like I did in the last marathon. So, the way that everyone does it is using their drone teleport to get through this. Now, not everyone does it the same. This is the way I do it. And again, using these like ledges, I use those as my my marker, right? I try to hug them in order to not take any damage. Just like that.
Okay.
It looks a lot harder than it is, but once you get used to like lining yourself up against all those walls, it becomes easier and easier. Because those walls are like perfectly lined up to get through this. Alright.
So you've shown one strat, and you said now we're looking at endgame collection, right? We're looking at what can you get, what items you have available to you. Is there a recommended route that you would say at this point in the game? Where is your where do you immediately want to go get cleanup done? What's your first instinct?
When it comes to cleanup, let's look at the map here. So we start in Ereboo. Ereboo's one of the last areas we go through. So we're going Ereboo, then Absu, then Z, then Kerr. From Kerr, we're going to Ukana. And then from Ukana, we go to Eden, back into Kerr, and then into Ikrama. And once we've entered Ikrama, that's when we get our red coat. That's when we start doing cleanup, right?
Right.
So it's clean up Ikrama first and get it over with. Then clean up Kerr next because it's in the way, right? Then we clean up the map in Indy if you're doing map percent as well. If not, then you can kind of skip that. And from there, we're going to go Ereboo, Absu, Z, up to Eden, to Ukana, and then last but not least, Maru. And it kind of brings you like around, like through everything perfectly, you know what I mean? So this way you do a lot less backtracking throughout the run.
So what I'm thinking is, since we're kind of trying to teach, how this works, could you show us that route and show us some of the movement tech you used to get there, and break down how you would go about that cleanup process?
Yeah. Okay. So. Actually, one second. I can do even better. Since we have debug tools, let's actually make this a little faster. We're gonna go to area 8, save room 1, back to title.
Okay. Sounds good. And while we were kind of going through this progression, there are a couple things you mentioned about the dev of the game. Are there any things you want to really talk about while you're doing this cleanup process for, like, cool dev details, or any glitches in particular that maybe aren't useful for the run but are entertaining that are still there?
Yeah, all over the place there are pretty entertaining things. Like right here, if I remember, how do you... Willow, do you remember, how do you do pizza strat here?
Pizza strat? Now I have to see this.
I can't remember this one.
With red coat, you have to do one tile off, apparently.
Oh, one tile off? Oh. Ugh, I hate this.
But not two, so just one tile. So right up against the wall. So there's a bunch of, like, hidden strats like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's painlessly precise.
Yeah, it's one of those. You can also do it right here, where you can kind of get into that wall. If you had just brown coat, you just like, you would dash into the wall and then you would just go up. It would like zip you up like an elevator.
Does it put you anywhere useful, or is it just there?
It's just there so that you could do this room safely instead of having to dodge through these guys. You would end up here and then you would go through and you'd be fine.
Cool. Yeah. So you see yourself with any like of those strats? I think we really like to see those.
Another thing I haven't shown off in this run was, whoa.
Is that that's never happened before?
Yeah.
What? Chat. We had one.
Where am I right now? This is a good question. Oh. I'm all the way at the bottom of that floor. Okay. Good thing I...
Clip that. That's amazing. That's never happened before.
Alright, yeah. So, normally, we do this to get underneath, right?
Did you guys seriously just have a dev breakthrough?
It's great.
How you guys are like the core systems? What's actually happening there when you guys are trying to get that?
When I was trying to get what?
When you got to that clip, what was happening? Is it just that it's grabbing the wrong address? Is it what's causing that bug?
It has to do with the pipe code, the collision for that. I'll be right back. I gotta pee quickly. Oh.
All right. In that case, we're gonna take a quick break while VGR grabs the restroom, and I'll go over some donations, and we'll keep this going. So, hold tight, chat.
Do this. Figure might as well take that little break.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright.
Alright, enjoy your sleep. Furiously debugging? Awesome. Well, hey, there you go. chat. We had a discovery live at Thunderthon. Got a bit nice.
All right.
So you said it was about the hitbox on the pipe itself.
Yeah.
That was doing that.
Yeah. So like, let me just kind of get over there. So now it won't do it again.
Huh. The sound of angry coders.
So we could just do this, and that'll do the same thing, right?
Okay.
So
So is that the same?
yeah, so since we're in the same map, see?
Uh-huh.
So, remember how earlier I was saying that when we go to a different map, it's using the collision from the pipe, so this point, as our point of reference for the warp, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That just proves it right there. Because as you can see, it's just taking me back to the point that I started, right?
Oh, because you're on the same point, that coordinate's still valid.
Yes, because I'm in the same map.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If we were going into a different map, like the other glitches, then it would teleport you to those other spots.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, chat. More demonstration of how that glitch actually works.
Yeah.
I just love that we had everyone who's running the game going, what?
Right. So
that's awesome.
Kerr, when we're routing Kerr, like it all really depends on your route. If you're doing no major glitch, yes major glitch, 100%. But it all usually, if it's whether it's not, as long as it's not no major glitch, you're always starting with temple skip. So it always starts with trying to do this, which is a pain in the ass. It is the most ridiculous amount of buttons to push at any rate.
Right.
Ugh. The
So
fact
there's
that I
one
got
of
it once is a miracle.
So is this one of those tricks that you think is the big barrier to entry to new runners for?
Yeah, for major glitches, yes. There we go. We got it. So, one swing, two. All right. So the last time I did this, it was in one swing, and that puts us into the save or the passcode tool room, which would be a soft lock. But this time, if I unlock, you're gonna notice that I'm already outside of it. That's because I went on a second swing, because it's all time based, right? So if you get pulled on the first swing, that time frame would put you in the passcode tool room. But since it didn't swing me in the first time, that extra time calculates to me being here. So when I see a 2-swing zip, I know I'm instantly good to do this. 1 second.
So, and
I land right here.
Cool. So you mentioned time. This is what I want to kind of clarify, because we are trying to teach new people kind of how this works. Is everything in the game is tied to time. Is like fall distance. You mentioned you accelerate when you're falling, so you actually terminal velocity over time. Is everything in the game tied to like frame count, or is it tied to
by frame count
timer?
Yeah, frame count by 60 frame per second time frame. At least when VSync's on. When VSync's off, it still uses that, but also some things use relative actual, like the frames being counted rather than the rendered frames. Because rendered frames right now, we're seeing 60 rendered frames, but there's hundreds of frames being drawn up in the background that aren't being rendered, that are being used to calculate, say, the damage for this Kilver or the damage for the red coat as I'm going through something every frame, right?
So this is why you had, when you had VSync the first time around, you were doing, maybe half damaged compared to
Yeah.
normally. The internal clock the internal frames are high enough that you're losing those frames in terms of damage.
Yeah. And as you can see here now, if you remember the first time going through this room, there was a bunch of enemies. But because I glitched myself into this room, there's no enemies.
Is there no spawn trigger then?
There are spawn triggers, so like spawn as in like to get in?
Or
like,
the enemies to spawn, you're not hitting the trigger that causes them to spawn, or is it just that because you're not
I'm not
on this map?
It's because I'm not technically in this map, so they're not loaded.
Oh. That's cool.
All maps are loaded, but the enemies are only loaded when you're in that room. But since we went out of bounds, it thinks we're still in the other room.
So that those enemies are still running around right now. Like if you were to somehow pan over to them, you could see them there, just chilling.
Yeah.
Huh. That's really cool.
So, when we start this, I go dash, 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 dash until I'm up against this thing. And when you have trench coat, you'll hear a different noise than with the red coat here. And so that tells me I'm up against this. So at that point, I'll dash up and shoot this upright to land up here. And then I'll switch back to trace, dash once, listen for the landing, dash once, listen for the landing, hold lock, up left, shoot, 1, 2, 3, teleport, 1, 2, 3, teleport, dash, dash, and then from this point I do 5 dashes with the trench coat, but it might be a little bit less with the red coat, we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so red coat puts you a little bit further, but as you can see, we roughly get to about where this is. With trench coat, I'd probably be somewhere near here, and then I'd start going tap down, tap down, tap down, until finally I land in the pipe.
So that's the movement you're doing when we can't see you on screen. Whenever you're
exactly
in the bunch.
That is the blind movement that I'm doing,
and that's pretty technical movement, right? That's like
yeah. But at the same time, it's easy to memorize. You know what I mean?
So is that how you memorize the movement in the game? It's just like you kind of have...
Yeah.
Remembered what is what?
Yeah. It's like, basically, you just remember the inputs that you're pushing and kind of study them and time them and get all that, like, down. And then it becomes kind of sort of muscle memory from then on. And you just kind of know where you are. And for people like me, I have a somewhat photographic memory. So while I'm doing it blind, I can almost visualize it in my head where I am using the audio cues.
Right.
Yeah.
So for someone who's learning the game, do you think like having those instructions written out is a good way to...
Yes. Yeah, I would have it all written out and then just practice doing those instructions one by one. And like, I do have the cheat tool on GitHub, so people can get that with the tracker and use it to practice this stuff.
Do you want to toss, if you want, I can toss a link to the tracker and that stuff in if you have a link readily available. Just let me know and I'll put it in.
I'll have to look. I don't know the link off the top of my head.
You don't have it, that's not a deal.
But as you can see, now all of these guys are back. The ones that weren't there before.
So this is the gauntlet you'd be avoiding if you took that.
Yeah.
It's pinned to the Discord. Awesome. So yeah, if you guys want to go to the Axiom Verge, just get our Discord. I highly encourage it. They're great people.
All right, so that's Ikrama in a nutshell. So once you have red coat, it's a matter of going back up if you're doing 100% and kind of getting the rest of the items and map pieces if you're doing map as well. And so we kind of go backwards through Ikrama after red coat.
Okay. So you backed on Ikrama, and you said that all these kind of maps flow into each other. There's kind of like a nice convenient loop.
Yeah.
Do we know if that was an intention within development, or if that was something that
I think it
kind
was
of a convenience?
I think that was intentional, that it all just loops together and stuff like that. like any Metroidvania, right? You have to have like this open world that you could just kind of explore and go everywhere, but at the same time, you know, you can only go so far out before it becomes redundant anymore, and people are just like, oh, now I gotta backtrack all this way, right? And so by keeping everything consolidated in this kind of like nexus circle, it makes it more intuitive, and and people enjoy it a little bit more.
So while we're kind of moving along here, do you have anything you can share with us about the future of Axiom Verge? You know, you mentioned you were a dev on the DLCs.
Yeah.
We have cool stuff coming, or can you talk about it, or can you not talk about it?
Most of it we can't talk about. The only thing we can talk about is what's already publicly out, which is the randomizer. We're currently in beta phase for the randomizer, so people can try out the mod, give us feedback, and then with that feedback we keep updating the randomizer for the official DLC, because eventually it's not just going to be a PC mod. Tom wants us to actually integrate it into the game and make it so that everyone across all platforms, not just PC, so PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, will all be able to play with this randomizer soon. But until then, currently, like I said, it's in beta phase, and we have only the randomizer out in beta currently. We do have other things planned, but we can't talk about those right now because they're not public knowledge, and we have no clue to when those will be ever developed. It could be right after the randomizer. It could be after Axiom Verge 2. We don't know.
Gotcha. So that's one thing I wanted to touch on, since you are kind of you're at the point now where if you were to trap, you could kill the final boss.
Yeah.
Are there any tricks that you really never get to show off during runs, or anything else like that you really want to really flex that you haven't had a chance to show off anywhere? Some insider tech, maybe?
I'm trying to think here. Oh, we have an old zip. So before Temple Skip was found, we would do this. 1 second. Got it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's how we would get past Temple to go to Redcoat early without getting the Sudrin key. But obviously another skip was found, and that was made null and void after that.
Right.
I'm trying to think of any other big major ones. I'm guessing in Z maybe. Let's.
Yeah. Anything you want to show off is useful for people, or you think it's just cool pieces of tech?
Yeah.
Proto-Athetos. That's always cool to show off.
Let me see here.
And if you guys want to learn this game, it's really it's not that expensive on Steam, and I've been playing through it myself as a 100% playthrough, and it's fun. Ciao. Seem to be something to Agni.
Alright. Oh.
Oh, Yellow Room's a lot less scary with Redcoat.
Yep, definitely a lot less scarier with Redcoat.
And with Summon.
So,
Yeah,
places like this, you have the option of going up the roof and stuff like that, and in randomizer, or even 100%, you could find use in stuff like this. It's just a matter of opinion which way you want to go, but it's nice to see stuff like this. This is actually a good place to demonstrate this, because it's pretty much the limits we're looking for, right?
Okay.
We want something with like a 3-block tile roof, right? So this pipe right here gives us that 3-block tile, and then we can move further back and let this stretch out, and then jump and push up, and as you can see, it pulls us under. So this makes a very good place to practice this. So for those trying to learn the grapple skip, This is a good place to practice both that and the tech you're gonna need for Sentinel. Because Sentinel skip, you basically jump up, you grapple, you take damage, you grapple again, swing, and dash up, right? So the way I like to emulate that here is instead of taking damage, you push X circle to re-grapple kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be almost the same timing as you taking a hit and doing the grapple again. And so you go grapple that and then practice the swing. And once you have that timing down, then you could do it on Sentinel real easy. So this is a great place for practicing both the downward grapple and the upward dash.
Cool. So it's one of the places you'd recommend people go to learn for strats.
Yeah. Another big thing when it comes to like droid or void warp with the drone, is like if you want to try and like fool around with it and try and find new locations of warp and stuff like that. If you were to take all the maps and like lay them on top of each other, they all line up with each other, X and Y coordinates. So like a good example is right here, lines up with the grapple room. So I'm gonna set that X and Y coordinate. We're gonna unlock the camera here. 1 second.
And once again, walls are a suggestion.
Yeah. And see, we're out of bounds. We're gonna hatch the egg. And now we land on the right side of the save room where grapple room is. So if we hold right, we're in grapple room now. And so
That's so cool.
This is the late grapple tech that we use to get grapple later rather than early. And most people prefer it this way because it's easier to traverse it. But again, to each his own, right?
Yeah. So there you go. If you wanted to learn that skip, it's a great way to start learning it. I presume for all of those skips, there's like saves you can set up to attempt those.
Yeah, so like this save right here, you can save here, and then luckily for us, that position is right here, outside here, for the drone. So we can just walk the drone out there. Use this little heart here to position yourself.
So it's right in line with that little that heart.
Yep, and then I just hold right.
That's cool. So a lot of times with the speed bosses, I saw you using the sort of lightning gun that fired that spray. Is that just the highest DPS weapon, or is that the most convenient for the hitboxes, or what's the...
For the most part, it is the most powerful weapon overall when it comes to like overall DPS per second. Because like, imagine if I had to explain it with using the first couple of enemies.
Yeah.
Your regular gun takes 3 shots to kill something, and Nova will usually take 2. Kilver will be 1, or 1.5 sometimes, depending on the enemy.
Okay.
So it's progressively better than all those. And then like damage per like single hit, it does 4 times more than even the flamethrower per hit. But because flamethrower shoots out multiple flames per second, it ends up overall doing more than it. But the time it takes to get flamethrower outweighs the time lost not grabbing it, you know, like...
Right.
Yeah, so in the end, we ended up just defaulting to Kilver as our weapon of choice.
So for the final battle, do you use the flamethrower? I remember you mentioning that during your...
Only during 100% we use it. During
how...
Go ahead.
How much faster is that the flamethrower for the final boss fight?
Marginal seconds in comparison.
Gotcha.
So the time it takes to get it compared to the time saved using it is not worth it.
Unless it's part of the requirement for the category.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So while you're heading through here, are there any items in particular, like if, say you're trying to learn the category and you're like, an item that's maybe safer? Are there any like health orbs or things that you'd recommend people that are trying to learn go pick up specifically?
Depending on your route and stuff like that, you're gonna see a lot of these health fragments. I would study up on where all the fragments and health nodes are, because during your run at any point, you're not guaranteed to get health from every enemy. Only certain ones are programmably always going to give you health, and some of them will also give you pity health. So if you're in a spot where you're not going to get any health for a while, these might be your next best backup to kind of resort to. So studying where all those are will come in handy a lot.
Right.
First couple of runs, don't try and be a hero. Get all the health drops you can, and as you get more and more comfortable with less health, then, you know, do it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
So like before gear tab, like I did in this run, I grabbed the HP node from Aruku, which I normally don't do in a run. If I'm going for a world record run, I skip that. But, you know, when you're first doing this, you're going to want to grab that. And once you start seeing that you have more than 400 health, well, you start with 400 at the beginning of the boss fight, but like you're left with more than 100 left, I should say.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, now I can start, you know, taking one less, right? And do that for every part of the game, right? Try and find what's the minimum health you need to feel comfortable with an area. And then as you get more and more comfortable, push those boundaries a little and a little bit more until finally you're getting it to the point where you're grabbing the minimal amount of stuff possible. And you're playing stuff like low percent like me.
So you mentioned low percent. What is your completion rate for a low percent run?
I believe it was 10%. Yeah, 10% items, and the actual like completion rate of like a run was very low. Like those runs, because you're not grabbing any health, no power upgrades, nothing like that. So every little bit of the run is like insane. Like it takes an extra 10 minutes of safety strats just to beat the game low percent, but like any little
So you're talking like low percent, just the bare minimum what you need to play the game, right? Just like
yep. Literally, you're not grabbing anything but the progressional items needed to progress, and that's it.
So you're tiny survival rate.
Yeah.
No items, no fluff.
Yeah, exactly. So if I had to like show what you would have inventory, you would have these 3 items because they're needed in progression.
Okay.
And then you would have this, not this, this, and this, I think. And
So
even then,
fragment.
actually, I think I even took these out. No, you need those to get through part of the game. I remember now. But yeah, so other than this, take everything I have now and then take out all the power and health nodes.
So all of those stat boosts are just gone.
Yep. I'd
And
only
you guys
have
have
2
seen-
bars of health.
And you guys have seen that he gets grazed by something and he just gets chunked. Oh hey, there's that one of the giant serpent turret battleship peoples. They're cool looking. So what is in this final, you know, as you're getting in later areas, you said you had 400 health at that point in the run, but what's some of the damage you're sort of taking from things like
Whoa.
body hits or also Nova, thank you.
The game crashed.
Crashed?
Yeah. I've never actually seen that.
2 never happened before. 2 for... Oh, that's great. So how much damage are you taking, really?
It depends on the amount of coats you have, because the more coats you have, the less damage you take. Like, so, the first 2 coats reduce your damage by, I think, 20%, and then the last coat adds another 30% on top of that, so a maximum of 70% damage reduction.
Okay, so they're really strong.
Yeah. Alright, let's speed things up here. 9,
right.
save. Get back to where we were.
Yep.
I was just about to save in this room when it cut me off.
No worries. So, as what you mentioned, you started the run. We talked about, you know, doing a new game 100% run before you tried completing, like, new game, you know, any speed runs to see where everything was. The question I have for you is, aside from doing, you know, a new game and completing it, are there any pieces of tech you would say, even in no major glitches, you just have to have mastery of before you begin?
Just the drone teleport stuff. As long as you have that down, that's all that matters. Because that becomes like the major thing in your run. It's what keeps you alive, as you can see.
Yeah, so even at this point in the game, the thing is, I assume even here with all 3 coats, you're going to take a fair amount of damage.
Yeah, so I'll take damage on purpose. See that? That was over 100 damage in a single hit.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, even though you're powered up, you're still going to get chunked out and take those big damage.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are struggling with final bosses, like this boss here, you said was during the run, was one of the few bosses that can actually kill you if you're 100%ing.
Yeah, Zeter, yeah.
So are there any strats for Zeter? Or are there anything in particular, like for Zeter, you're like, if you're struggling with that fight, try this?
Let me save here. I think I have a save file that's set up for that. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I thought I did. But, I'll kind of go through it a little bit without the necessary items. So I'd use flamethrower for him.
Okay.
And the way I approach Zeter Hall is I try to, like, watch his patterns and accordingly kind of follow him a certain way. And it's kind of hard to explain without showing it, so...
Yeah. That's... I know Zeter, as you said, was one of the bosses that can, in 100%, just straight up kill you.
Yeah. So, when he's in this pattern, I dash through him and shoot Kilver. And then when he goes into this mode, I go underneath, and I'll be shooting up like this, but, like, with a flamethrower, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't have that right now, so I'm just doing this right now to kind of compensate for that.
Oh, wow. We have actually, when you're done showing off this, I have an awesome donation to read off.
Okay.
When you're not actively being murdered.
And there we go.
Well, there you go. That's some Zeter tech.
Yeah. As long as you keep going left and right, the dash will keep you alive because you get free iframes when you dash. So you could dash through things and kind of use it to your advantage to do some damage and get out in a matter of a second.
Gotcha. Speaking of awesome things, and that honestly will probably help me with my playthroughs. Thank you.
Yep.
Willow sends $20 saying, if you're debating between donating $20 to Red Cross Wildfire Aid or buying Axiom Verge, send me a receipt for the former and for a free copy of the latter. So there you have it, folks. That's, there's some Willow in the chat saying, copies of Axiom Verge for donations to...
So this room right here, 1, 2 lasers, 3 lasers, they're gonna move. 1 laser, 2 lasers, 3 lasers, they're gonna move. 1 laser, 2 lasers, 3 lasers, they're gonna move, right? And so, if you can keep track of that, you can keep track of where they're gonna go.
So they'll try and glue to you.
Yep.
Huh.
Another big thing with this fight is only certain bots will give you health. So the first 3 that spawn, the third one is the one that gives you health. After that, the next 3 will give you none, and then the next 3, 2 out of 3 I think will give you health, and then the next 3 none will give you. It's like, it's all programmed and will always be the same. I don't think I was supposed to do that.
Oh, there.
That's okay.
Configurations?
We can,
There's some, so this kind of becomes a test of endurance then, right?
Where am I? 1 second. Let's find out. Oh.
Are you by the proto room?
There we go. We're good. Just reset that all.
So yeah, the boss fight without the flamethrower, which I think you clip into the on 100%, you clip into the roof above that and fire down.
Yeah, with the Kilver you can't do that because you can't reach.
Gotcha.
Unless you have a whole bunch of size nodes and range nodes at the time.
Since we don't have that, we're gonna have to do it more traditionally.
Another thing we also do, you'll notice, there's Kilver and Drill being shot at the same time.
Oh. So you're just stacking the 2 damages?
Yeah, so what we're doing is pushing drill, the shoot button, then the drill button in sequence, and it kind of puts them together so you could deal the damage of both of them stacked. So you're doing the damage from Red Coat, the Drill, and Kilver all at the same time.
The stacking 3 damage sources just pump out damage.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool. This fight looks pretty tough. Like, even though you're you know, you're definitely packing more gear than usual, you're still getting chunked out.
Yep. And so what I did there at the end there with that low amount of health, I was taking damage off of the gem, this little thing that I'm trying to destroy.
Yeah.
And it gives me free iframes without damage. So I can use that to kind of stay alive with that little bit amount of health. That's actually what I do during low percent to survive, is just keep constantly taking damage from that because it does 0 damage.
Gotcha. That's cool. Alright. I don't think it's
Total time 0.0000000.
That's awesome. So are there
that should not work if I remember correctly. Let me just double check just to make sure. Oh my god, it did. That's not good. It was not supposed to do that. I'll have to get that deleted later. Alright, whatever. It was supposed to actually prevent that.
In the meantime...
But that's why we don't use the leaderboards in-game anyways. They were horribly broken over here, as you can see. People are first with like 11 hours, 23 hours. It's like, it's all broken. If you guys want to see the actual world record times, look at it on speedrun.com.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so we still have the opportunity. If you, is there anything else you wanted to show off? Any other strats you wanted to show off? Well, oh goodness, I have some notations to read actually. 1 second. Chad
Yeah.
Thorson with $10. I love the Thunderthon community and everything it stands for. I know every little bit helps in the wildfires that are ravaging California and Oregon, and you guys have blown away any expectations. So proud of Ferris Feather for taking the reins in second strikes and making them incredible. Thank you. I really do try. And $50
Thanks, Chad.
from... Yeah. Thanks, Chad.
And go ahead, next one.
And $50 from Raceless says, this game looks really cool and loving the idea of the workshops for different speed games. Keep it up. Now, there you go. VGR, you speed on a bunch of stuff, don't you?
Oh yeah, like tons of games. Pretty much every Mario game up until Mario 64. So Mario 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World, Mario 64, Mega Man 2, Mega Man X, Donkey Kong Countries 1 and 2, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Ninja Gaiden, Contra, all sorts of games. Like I speedrun about 40 different games at this point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Willow says you should show off the entirety of IMB to close it out. Or Blind Race Willow. I will say also, go show some love to VGR. He's been amazing. VGR, are there any pieces of tech that you want to get shown before we tidy up?
I think there's only one little piece of tech left that can be shown right now.
Okay.
1 second.
While we're... Yeah, there's tons of different routes to keep track of. And if you guys... I've played the game casually. I'm loving it. If you guys want to pick it up, I highly encourage you guys to do so. It's really fun. If really hard.
Yeah, it can be really hard to learn at first. So, one thing I can show you guys before we leave is the last little bit of tech that I didn't get to show off in that run. So, if we take the drone, put it into another room, despawn the drone while Trace is in an area that had rebuildable stuff. See how I got zipped up here? We could do that again. So we started down here first, and we got zipped all the way to the top of the room. Because there was breakable blocks here that, when we do this, it regenerates the blocks, right? So we're gonna do it again, but now from the top. And now we're a room above. So if we just keep dashing to the left, now we're in this room.
That's not how rooms work.
And so this can be done anywhere where there's breakable blocks and you have your drone and you can kind of do that little switch thing. And so this could be found all across the game, all over the place. Sometimes it's useful in some areas, sometimes it's not. But my suggestion is to just fool around and see what you can come up with. Because, like, if everyone keeps doing the same things, nothing new is found, right? But if everyone tries doing things in different areas or tries to tweak these different things in different ways, that's how we come up with new tech. Like the grapple glitch that was found by someone who was newer in the community, and no one else ever thought to use the grapple that way, right? But it just takes one, right? And it doesn't matter what game you're playing. It's always great to just think outside the box because you never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And VGR, thank you for coming on to Second Strikes. This is the first of a test of shows we're thinking of doing on Thunderthon, where you, that's right, you in the chat can demystify your speed game and show us how to break it. So shoutouts to all of the donators. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone, so we're taking a quick chance to go over them. Resleases with $50. It was a really cool game. Loving the idea workshops for different speed games and keep it up. That's our $50 donation. We had $10 from Chad, 20 from Willow, 20 from Willow. Willow is a total of $80 donated. That's awesome. Thank you so much. We have $10 from Sarah and Kendricus and $20 in. Amazing stuff all around. You all are absolute legends. I have read all donation comments, and if you put in donations between now and the second episode of Second Strikes, will be happening tomorrow with Demonic doing Dishonored 2. So So look forward to that. And VGR, you have a couple projects besides just speedrunning. They're pinned in the Axiom Verge Discord for GitHub, right? For the tracker.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you can also find a lot of my tools over on my GitHub. If you look up VideoGameRoulette on GitHub, you can find all the different tools that I've written. I've done SRT tools for Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Ocarina of Time, now Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
All sorts of games.
He did an awesome job of the Monster Hunter World 1 especially. It's really cool. So, join the Discord. You can find us at the Thunderthon Discord, which is linked, I believe, down below, or we can put a link in chat for one of the mods. You can find VGR at his own channel, and you can find all these little people there in Thunderthon Discord. So, closing, anything you want to shout out particularly, VGR?
I want to give a big shout out to the Axiom Verge community. They've done a lot of work with this game in the last couple of years, and watching the run dramatically change the way it does is so insane. People like Rare Beef, Orloth, Willow, Sabera, Bluey, Matt. There's so many of them out there. It's hard to get all the names out there. Code Peace, Falcon. All you guys are taking the game to the next level, and I can't wait to see what else you guys come up with.
Yeah, and don't hesitate, if you are in the Axiom Verge community, don't hesitate to show us. If you guys find new tech, let us know. We're more than happy to show this off. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Thunderthon Second Strikes with VGR and Freya, and we'll see you all tomorrow with Dishonored 2.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Let's go ahead and get our raid going, shall we?
Yeah.
I have been informed we should go raid Waifu. Join us in this gal event. I'll see you all there. I'm gonna let the raid kick over real quick. And I'll see you all there.